You're listening to Rockin' Country Radio, today's hottest country and more. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Rockin' Country Radio. I'm your host, DJ Delta Dawn, welcoming you all here tonight. It is Tuesday, which is great news because it's no longer Monday, right? We're off to a new week here on Rockin' Country Radio, and it's a great week ahead. We've got great guests all week. Tonight's guest is no exception. And before we launch into that, I just have to ask the question, who is happy that the temperatures are finally dropping, that fall is upon us? I don't know about where you live, but here in North Carolina, you know, what is this? September 16th, we never start having cooler temperatures till about the 1st of October. Man, it is an early fall here. We're so happy, and I started, as I was driving down the road today, I noticed that the leaves are slightly starting to change, and this is like so cool. I love this time of year. I'm a big Halloween fan. I love anything about this time of year, so hey, it's on. Anytime football starts, you can count on it being a great time of year. I love it. So there's so much to love about it. So I hope wherever you are, you've had a wonderful day. You are enjoying this early fall as well, and you are excited to be here as we are tonight. If you are a first-time listener, thank you. Welcome aboard. We give you a huge round of applause, and glad to have you here as well. And I tell you, you picked a great night to choose to tune in because tonight's guest, I absolutely love this guy. From the moment I came across him, I think it was on Twitter. It was Twitter or Facebook. I can't remember which. It's been a little while now, but I was like, wow. You know, so many times with these artists that I just kind of uncover in the midst of being on social media, I'm just blown away because I'm thinking, why have I not heard them on mainstream country radio? He is no exception. I mean, truly, he is that good. His band is awesome. And so before I bring him on, I want to go over a little bit about who he is so that if you're not familiar, this will kind of familiarize you with him. And at the end of the interview, I will be sure to give you all of the information of where you can find him online. He undoubtedly has a band that is just second to none, in my opinion. The band is called Stagecoach Revolver. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is just yet. But they are a high-energy country band, and I've seen some of their stuff, videos and so forth, and I can tell you that is no lie. They play a brand of country music, and they've been all up and down the East Coast. They've been, you know, here and there throughout the U.S., and they are a huge in-demand band everywhere they go. They reign from southern Indiana, and they are the 2013 Hank FM Radio Battle of the Band winners, which took place in Indianapolis. And last year, they opened for some of country music's biggest names, such as, are you ready, Lee Brice, Tyler Farr, Dustin Lynch, Chris Cagle, Chase Rice, Josh Thompson, and even had a stop on Luke Bryan's Dirt Road Diaries tour. And this year, their debut EP is on the horizon, and I tell you, they are showing no signs of slowing down. So without further ado, I am so very excited to welcome to our show tonight Mr. Jake Dodds. Hello, Jake.
Thank you so much. That was a very great intro.
I know. Well, you know, we were talking before the show, and I was kind of like, you know, trying to give you time to get settled, if you know what I mean. So I hope that helped, but we're glad to give you all the accolades because, man, I tell you, I've been following you, you know, on social media ever since I found you on there, and every time I turned around this summer, you were on the road or you were tweeting out about where you were going to be playing, and my head almost exploded at times reading your tweets going, oh my God, does the guy ever sleep? Does his band ever get to sleep? And so congratulations on a big summer, and thank you so much for being here tonight. We are very honored to have you.
Definitely honored to be a part of the show, and it's been a great summer. We've been real busy and glad to be busy, trying to go anywhere we can go and try to get in front of many people and just having a great time doing it. And, spending a lot of highway miles.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd hate to think. Do you even have any idea? I mean, we're into mid-September now. Do you have any idea how many miles you've racked up this year alone?
We don't. Looking back, that would be something fun to track, just to always know how far you've gone. But it's been a ride. We Wisconsin and Iowa, and we just actually got back from Louisiana, and it's a great time. It's an unbelievable thing to think that we're getting to do that, to go out and play music for people in different states where a lot of towns you may have never have gone to otherwise. So it's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the fact that you guys are really branched out. I mean, when I say branched out, you guys are all over the map, literally. You're not regionally based. You may have started out that way, but once the word got out and people heard your music, it was just a matter of time before you started playing on some of these big-ticket shows, with the Lee Brices and the Chris Cagles and Chase Rices of the world. I mean, that's no small feat in itself when you think about how many country bands and artists, newcomers, that are entering the country music industry every single day, and to be picked up and to get to play on a show like that's got to be huge for you guys.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing to go from being the kid that wanted to do it to be the adult that's getting to do it, and sometimes you have to sit back, because our first big open like that was for a Chris Cagle show, and I just remember listening to Chris Cagle for so long and all through high school, and then, you get there and it's like, all right, we're opening for Chris Cagle. And then you kind of got to step back and go, man, we're opening for Chris Cagle, and just take that in. So it's definitely a very cool thing, and I'm just honored to get to do it, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, the thing that's so exciting for me, when I look at somebody like Chris Cagle, for example, or Chase Rice, or some of these other guys that you play for, I mean, it hasn't been that long ago that they were kind of the newcomers to country music. I mean, they were not really a household name just yet, but everywhere they were going, they were playing, they were just getting this huge fan following. And that's kind of, I say that because that is what I see you guys doing. I mean, I see you guys kind of being the next wave of country music where you're going to be the household name, and in a lot of respects you already are, just by who you're playing, opening for, and all the places you've been on the road. And I think it's really just going to be a matter of time, Jake, undoubtedly so. It's just amazing how I've watched you guys just this summer alone just cover the ground that you've covered.
Well, thank you so much. That's definitely an honor for you to feel that way about us, and that's what we hope for. You bring that up, and we opened for Chase Rice, and he was, at the time, he hadn't made a whole lot of ground, and that was only, a summer or two ago. I forget now, but it wasn't that long ago. And opening for him then, and now, on your drive home, he's got the number one song on radio, and that's crazy how it goes that way. You think and it is a long road, but there is those guys that can make that quick turnaround when they just really connect with what they're doing, and that's what people are looking for, and that's what we try to do. We're writing what we know, and we're not trying to, we don't go out there and try to put on, we put on a show, but we're not trying to put on a show. We're just being ourselves and trying to have as much fun as possible with the opportunities that we've been given, and just hoping for the best and seeing how it goes day to day.
It is a day at a time event. I mean, it really is a journey, and they don't call it a musical journey for nothing, do they?
No, they don't. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, I have to address this with you because I am sure I am not the only person on the face of the planet in all your travels that has ever brought this up. But has anyone ever told you that you sound a lot like Aldean? I mean, Jason Aldean, I'm going, golly. I mean, the first time I heard your music, I had to I actually looked at my screen going, wait a minute, did I pull up a Aldean track? And then I looked and I was like, no, it's Jake Dodds and Stagecoach. I mean, I was tripping. Seriously, have you ever gotten that anywhere?
That's actually the first time we've got Aldean.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious. When I read that earlier, I was laughing. Our live show, we get a lot of comparison to Lee Brice just because we're very high energy, and we're moving around, and we do a lot of fun things, just trying to interact with people, and because I think that really makes the show. I went to a lot of shows and still try to go to as many as I can, and I always liked the bands that not only were great and entertaining, but that kind of got into the crowd and talked with the people and really brought them into the show. And we try to do that, so we get a lot of live show comparison to Luke Bryan. That is definitely the first Jason Aldean comparison, but I think that's good because if we're getting compared, half Luke Bryan, half Jason Aldean, it's like two of the most successful guys right now. So, they would breed a pretty good prodigy, I think.
Well, and you know, in terms of and let me just clarify, you know, that's not to say that you're an imitation of Jason or anything. It's just your vocals. I mean, I really was like, oh my gosh, if Jason Aldean ever becomes ill and can't sing, I know who can fill in. I mean, Jake Dodds can go to the studio and do it, you know, no doubt. So, but that's really awesome. I mean, it is a great testament to you guys, and obviously you're doing something right. And you know, and Jason, his show is not like high energy. The energy in his shows, I think, just come from the crowd. It just kind of amplifies itself almost. Luke, though, I've seen Luke, and man, he is. I bet he goes home and he just collapses every night. You know, he is just all over the place. And I've never been to – the last show that I went to that was as energetic as Luke Bryan's was Garth Brooks, you know, back when – the first time around when he was much younger and he was jumping all over stage and everything. And fans love that, though. I mean, I think anytime, you know, you or any artist in country music can bring that, the crowd is already so electric in country. I think this is the biggest genre where a crowd just really gets electrified like no other genre of music can provide. And when you have artists that just go all out, like you guys do, it just kind of, I think you and the crowd just kind of feed off each other. Would you agree?
Yeah, the crowd is so important to everything that we do. It's, you know, it's really just from being a spectator for so long, and I'm always a fan of country music since I was a little kid. That was, you know, we grew up watching the old days when it was TNN. We watched the Grand Ole Opry and the Statler Brothers show, and then Mom always had country radio on, you know, and just growing up around that and being a part of it, and then getting to see shows as you get older and kind of learning what they did, but then going there and doing it is different. You know, it's a different animal, and you just, for us especially, and for me, you know, I've got to have the crowd, and part of the fun, I think, is maybe when we're in a town where they don't know who we are or what we do, just going out there and, you know, being fired up and trying to get them. Because everybody comes out on Friday and they want to party, but they may not necessarily show it at first. They might be a little nervous. You know, they don't want to be the first person on the dance floor that people are going to be pointing at and taking pictures of. And that's the goal, is to get that person. The whole point, I think, sometimes people take it all too seriously with their, you know, debate on the bro country and, you know, regular, you know, or whatever. But the whole point of it is entertainment, you know, to bring you out of your Monday through Friday, to get you into, you know, to have fun. And that's our job. And definitely the crowd getting into that is so essential. And we just, you know, we try to get them going, and, you know, the more they go, the more we go. And that's, it just builds from there. And like you said, it just, once you got it, there's no way to beat it. And when you do it once, it's addicting. And that's why we spend all our time driving from town to town just to try to do it again. And it's just, it really is the coolest. I don't know how else to describe it other than just the coolest feeling. One of the best moments is when you go onto the stage and to feel that excitement.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, to have been a fan of you know, many country shows in my day, just to feel that, it just, there's nothing that compares to it, really. Now, I'm going to talk to you about your musical writing style, because I absolutely love your music, as I know many of your fans do. But I know this summer you've been so jam-packed with touring and playing shows that, have you had any time at all to write? I mean, where do you carve that out when you're on the road? Because I know you guys have been on the road more than you've been off.
Yeah, we definitely have been, and it can be tough. You know, there's days where something just comes to you, and you just kind of roll with it, write it down, maybe just put the idea in your phone. My phone has more musical memos than probably most people's does have songs or text messages, but you know, you just, when it comes to you, try to capture it, and it's tough sometimes to just sit down. I don't have that mentality to just sit down and say, I'm going to write a song today, and I think a lot of artists do have that, but I don't necessarily have that. I have more of I've got just comes to me, or I feel it, and I just try to make it something that I've experienced, and then just go from there. But so you never know. It could be early morning. It could be on your way to work, or you're just anywhere really. And just the point is just capture it and then try to see how far you can get with it. And a lot of times, you know, it might take a couple weeks to write a song, and then there's other times where I think we polished one off in 10 minutes and then made a few changes to it in the long run. But, you know, you kind of get there and you know, Hungover Again, one of our most recent singles, that was kind of one where I walked into the house that day and I thought, I want to write an upbeat song, and somehow I came around to writing a hangover song. And, you know, it wasn't at all what I intended to do, but it's one of my favorite songs. And so it just kind of happens like that for, you know, at least on our end. That's kind of where it all comes from to us. So.
And you know that I think a lot of times if you have that style of writing, it almost makes your music better because you're not sitting there going, okay, Friday or Monday I'm going to carve out all day and do nothing but write, and then you have writer's block and nothing comes. You know, I think when it comes naturally, it just makes for a greater song because it just flows and everything just kind of comes together and gels together just great, just wonderful. But when you force it, you know, any book author will say this, and it rings true. I think with a lot of music artists as well. It's one of those things music, I think, for it to be great, it just can't be forced. And if you really want to try to make that connection with the fans, you can't force it. You know, you can, but it might end up coming back on you. You know, it's not going to work. Sometimes it does, but it's rare. But when you can write a great song that you not only like because you got to go out and play it over and over and over again, you know, but your fans love, that's when you know you've got the formula down, you know?
Yeah, and like you said, some friends of ours, Sunday Best, Nick and Chris, you know, we played several shows with them, and I was really talking to them just kind of get where they come from with their writing, because I just really love a lot of the things that they do. And you know, I was talking to him, and you know, I said I struggle to just sit down and say I'm going to write this song. I just kind of got to wait until it comes to me. And they made the point that, you know, when you can write a song anytime and it might be good, but when you feel the song, that's when the other people can really sit there and say, okay, I get that. I was there too. And I think that's the you know, you want to write a song that gets people into it and something that they want to watch on YouTube or buy on iTunes. But I think in every songwriter's head somewhere, they're looking to write the song where someone else can go, I felt that way too. I think that's the overall goal.
Oh, yeah, and because, you know, I think, as I've said many times on this program and to many colleagues in the business, it's just music is a universal language, and it speaks to people in so many different ways, but it is the one thing that brings people together like nothing else. And I tell you, country music, I think, has ran away with that whole concept like no other genre of music because of what the music is about. You know, it's about real life. It's about situations that we've all been through, we've all experienced, good or bad, or in between. And it's just the most identifiable form of music there is, in my opinion.
It really is, and I think that's why it's the most popular music right now. I think it's the one music that you can sit down and connect with. Everybody can connect with, you know, a party song, and everybody can connect with a sad song, and there's just something for every day of the week, and wherever you're at in your mind and whatever's going on, it's really there in country music. You can find it anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jake, who do you consider to be some of your biggest musical influences? Because I know you were bitten by the music bug early on. So kind of who helped mold and shape your musical style?
I don't know. I think I switch day to day. You know, I grew up with grandparents that were always watching the Grand Ole Opry and the Statler Brothers show, and I just always thought it was cool. And my grandpa was always singing little songs, and you know, early Roger Miller and just a lot of things like that always had me interested. But you know, maybe what drives my writing style is always different. I'm a big fan of Eric Church, a big fan of Brad Paisley, two very different styles, and I think it just kind of depends on my, you know, if I'm in a fired up mood, maybe I'll channel some Eric Church, or if I want to write maybe what I would call an Americana song, I'll listen to some Eric Church. But if I want to write a fun song, maybe I'll listen to Brad Paisley, or, you know, or really anything. It amazes me from time to time what, you know, one week I'll be into something, and the next week I'm like, I don't even want to listen to that. So I think it's always changing, and maybe that's good. I don't know. Maybe it's bad. I think it gives some of our songs are two different worlds sometimes. as we've been working on this EP, and you start trying to put stuff together and go, okay, we're going to use that song and this song. Like, oh, I really want to use that song, but it doesn't fit any of the 5 others because it's so totally out there. So it's I think my mind is always changing, so I don't know what influences me the most there.
Well, look, that's a great problem to have when you've got so many songs and you're trying to decide which 5 or 7 to put on an EP or which 12 to put on an album. But, hey, relax, because that means you can just make more EPs. You know what I mean? So it's okay. I'm teasing you. But speaking of EPs, I know that one of your goals this year as a band, you guys have been working towards trying to get this EP launched, and you've been touring so much. So, you've got a great excuse. But we're winding down here. We're kind of coming down to the end of the year pretty quickly. So can fans expect this from you before the end of the year, or is it going to be in 2015?
It's going to be tough. I think it will most likely be 2015. We've done a lot of groundwork, but there's still a lot to go, and just fine-tuning things and just really getting everything to where we want it. It'll be our first EP, and I think that's real important, to get it how you want it. So
oh, yeah.
I think it will probably be 15, if not late this year, but I would expect it more of early 15. We'll say early 2015.
Well, I was going to say, I was looking at your tour schedule the other day, and just in fairness to you, if you pull this off in 2014, I will be sending you major kudos over the airwaves, because you guys are booked solid all the way through the end of January 2015. So I don't know where you're going to fit this in, but so we'll cut you some slack, and we'll cut you some slack for sure, and expect it in early 2015. How's that sound? Take some of the pressure off.
That sounds great. I like that.
Now, I also want to bring up, you mentioned Eric Church. He represents North Carolina well. He's a North Carolina native, and he's actually going to be here later this month. I hope to get out to see him. I don't know if I will, but that is one thing I want to see on your tour schedule in the near future is a date somewhere in North Carolina, because I definitely will make the trip wherever it is to see you guys play, because I've seen your video footage of live performances, and you guys are awesome. I mean, you put on one heck of a show.
Well, thank you so much. We definitely try, and I think we that's probably where we try the hardest, is to get the live show where we want it, because that's what we're doing the most. And I think for me at least, I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I would imagine they feel the same, that the live show is really the most fun part. CDs are fun and recording is fun, but the coolest part about music, I think, is to go play live and get the reactions and the fun and everything that comes with it, the excitement, the anticipation of the day and before the show. And that's really the most fun part. And we'd love to come to North Carolina. We're trying to go everywhere. We, like I said, we went to Wisconsin, Louisiana, and Iowa, and we're going to all these places. So we need to start coming east.
You do.
I'll have to make sure somebody's working on that.
I know. North Carolina has some. That's a 2015 goal. Get your EP out and come to North Carolina, right? Make a southern regional part of the U.S. tour. Jake Dodds
and
company. Go. But seriously, I mean, North Carolina has several great, huge, awesome, very successful country venues that bring in big-time country acts. And I'm not talking about, like, your big amphitheaters. I'm talking about nice, bar venue-type places that bring people in from all over. They always sell out their shows. There's several different. I can shoot you some info via email if you'd like. But it's some great stuff in North Carolina. And they are always packing shows. They're kind of like you guys. They're always on Twitter, and they're just putting out who they're having, and I'm like, really? So it's I need to quit doing as many shows, and I could get out to some of these live shows, which I love to go to because they're so much fun. And it's no two are ever alike. No two bands or artists are ever alike, and it's just always great to see the energy change from show to show. It's a fun time.
Yeah, when we get to North Carolina, when we make it there, you'll just have to bring the show, and we'll just have to do a live show with the live show.
We'll do the live show. I'll broadcast live from the live show, and everybody will get Jake Dodds' and Stagecoach Revolver live on air, doing the
There
live
you go.
thing, which would be awesome.
It'll
We
be
can
a
do it,
win-win.
really. In this day and time, with technology being what it is, the internet being what it is, if you can give me an internet connection, I'm good. We can do it.
Yeah.
And also,
it might
if
be
you come
best
to,
for us. I'm
Look, if you
prettier
come
on
to
radio.
North Carolina, I know, right? I mean, but if you come to North Carolina, you got to have some North Carolina barbecue, and there's a lot of great eating places. I may have to just, catch up with you guys and treat you to a meal somewhere, because you can't come through the state of North Carolina without getting some of the good North Carolina food, and of course the Southern hospitality. You can't beat that either. So, but you just let me know in advance, and we'll put it together. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get that figured out. I'm getting hungry thinking about that now. Yeah.
There's lots and lots to choose from here, Jake. So we've covered all the bases, but is there anything else that you'd like to let your fans, listeners know before we wrap up?
Well, just want to thank everybody that tuned in, and I really appreciate them all listening, and thank you for having us. It's definitely been great, and just really appreciate what you're doing for people in our position. You're really a great an outlet for artists to get their music out there on social media, and everything you got going on. So we just really appreciate it, and hope everybody goes to YouTube and checks out some videos, and wherever in North Carolina or wherever you're listening, just come out and see us. I mean, you can't go wrong on a Friday or Saturday catching a live band. It's more fun than watching American Idol reruns. So make sure when exactly. So when one of these bands is in your town, just get out and see them, and hopefully we're one of them. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will say this, and that is, I've been at this for a little while, and I've interviewed a lot of indie artists, a lot of unsigned artists from all different genres of music. And for me personally, having talked to so many artists, that are not on mainstream radio, to me, it's some of the best music going. And mainstream radio has no idea what they're missing out on, because there's so much untapped talent, so much undiscovered talent that, one thing I love about the country genre, is there's so much good talent that you have, the great folks over at Sirius XM's The Highway, and you have other, outlets, our show and many others that are more than happy to promote and really get the word out about, you guys and so many other great artists that are, in my opinion, the next wave of country music that we're going to be seeing on the CMAs and the ACMs and all those great award shows. And country fans are the most loyal out there. And, you guys, speaking of fans, you guys have a huge following. I mean, as I was getting ready for this interview tonight, my Twitter notifications just kept going off. People retweeting our tweets, and it was just amazing. I was like, wow, and that is always such a great thing to have. And fans really, I think, in this age of modern technology, they make great artists even greater because of their support and their love, and you guys certainly have a following for sure.
Yeah, we do. Our fans are some of the best, and they travel quite a far ways to see us, and it's always cool. And you never know. We've showed up in towns before, and one song specifically, we were playing it, and I thought I heard someone singing along. I thought, who would possibly know this song? And I looked down, and the couple in front of me dancing were singing it. And then when we talked to them after the show, and they had seen us at another show in another town, and they were within 2 hours, and they drove the distance. So stuff like that is so cool that people invest in that. And you're right, country music has the best fans that I think any genre could have, and they're so loyal to all of us. But they don't pick and choose. A Chase Rice fan is going to be a Chris Cagle fan, and they're going to be our fan, and that's the cool thing about it. So
it's awesome. It really is. Well, Jake, I can't thank you enough for being our special guest this evening. It has been such a blast talking with you, and please don't hesitate to let us know if there's anything at all we can help you guys with, promotion or just getting the word out about anything new you guys go. Just shoot me an email, and I will be tweeting it out. I'll be happy to do that. And of course, when you get the EP ready, let me know, because I'd love to have you back. We'll feature it on air live, and we'll work on that live show in 2015 in North Carolina somewhere.
That sounds great. That sounds great. We just want to thank you for having us, and thank everybody for listening, and I look forward to getting that EP out there and eating some North Carolina barbecue.
Sounds like a plan. We'll give our best to the rest of the guys, and we will definitely be in touch, and hopefully to see you out on the road very soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Jake Dodds, ladies and gentlemen, awesome guy, and I want to give you a little information where you can find him online, because I tell you, he and his band are definitely one that you want to check out. Visit him online at jakedodds.com. On Twitter, he is Jake_Dodds, and I'm going to pull up his Facebook really quick, because sometimes those are not quite the same. A Stagecoach Revolver is his Facebook. So go like the Facebook, follow them on Twitter, check out their YouTube videos, and their music is awesome. In a few moments, we are actually going to play a couple of songs from Jake and the guys, and I tell you, what a great way to end our show and to play them out. And upcoming show dates, just to give you a little idea, on September 20th, they're going to be playing in Bloomington, Indiana at the Bluebird, and also following that, they'll be over at the Persimmon Festival on September 24th in Mitchell, Indiana, and I tell you, check out their shows. They really are booked solid between now and the end of January 2015. So definitely catch them out on the road if you can, because that's one show you won't regret seeing. And I am going to definitely make a point to get out to see them when they do come to North Carolina. I'm not going to say when or if. They are. We're gonna make it happen, we hope. So anyway, thanks, many thanks again to Jake Dodds for being our special guest, and many thanks to all of you for tuning in tonight. If you're a first-time listener, welcome aboard. We hope that you'll be back here again. And we're here every evening, Monday through Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back tomorrow night. Great artist tomorrow night. We're bringing Ricky Young to you. So definitely, if you're a Ricky Young fan, you definitely want to tune in for that. He'll be here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And so as we close our show tonight, we're going to play a couple songs from Jake Dodds and Stagecoach Revolver. We'll start with Hungover Again, and we'll close with Tailgate Summer. Have a great evening, all. We'll see you again tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And God bless. Good night.
In my head, it's keeping beat with my pulse. At least I still got one. Sometimes I don't know. The smell of cigarettes, all my clothes on my breath. Half-drink beer on a stranger's nightstand. Whoa, with a head on my friend. I wouldn't do this again. That bottle of Crown had a different set of plans. I got drunk, passed out, and woke up hungover again. Softly turned my head, tried not to wait. Another party night, I want time to stay. I stumbled down the hall, reaching for the wall, trying not to fall as I put my cowboy boots on. Whoa, with a hell on my friend. I told myself I wouldn't do this again. That bottle of Crown had a different set of plans. I got drunk, passed out, and woke up hungover again. It's sunny on this sidewalk, still chalk different set of plans. I got drunk, passed down, and woke up. I got drunk, passed out, and woke up, hungover again. I'm hungover again. I went and done it again. Woke up hungover again. Comes a calling. They got bows in their hair, tank tops everywhere, coolers loaded down with Miller Lite. And by sun up Saturday morning, there's a beer pong party out on Woodlawn, with stereos cranked up, cars and pickup trucks jammed in side by side. It's a game day on Saturday. No matter if we win, ain't never lost a tailgate. With double fist and jello shots, when the game is over, don't have to stop. Head towards the parking lot. In this up and down, next year turn it around. Beer drinking tailgate. Summer. Started with a bottle of cram, but it's 3/4 drunk now. He was dancing around, them girls wanna hang out, but he'll never make it out tonight. It's a game day, Saturday. No matter if we win, ain't never lost a tailgate. Double fist and jello shots, when the game is over, don't have to stop. Head towards the parking lot. In this up and down, next year turn it around. Beer drinking tailgate. Summer. Shots, beer pong, flippy cup and beer bongs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Game day, Saturday. No matter if we win, ain't never lost a tailgate. Double fist and jello shots, when the game is over, don't have to stop. Head towards the parking lot. In this up and down, next year turn it around. Beer drinking tailgating. Summer. Tailgate summer. Oh, it's tailgate summer.
Rockin' Country Radio on the web. Find us at rockincountryradio.com, on Twitter at Rockin_CTRY, and on Facebook at Rockin' Country Radio.